Ta oferta aktualna jest tylko do końca tego miesiąca. Wspaniały produkt osiągalny jest w niewiarygodnie niskiej cenie w firmie Mango w Gdyni. Nie dajcie się zwieść tanim imitacjom.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back again for another session. Sorry I wasn't on yesterday. Truthfully, I haven't been feeling too great the past few days. But I think I'm feeling well enough to do the stream tonight. So, see how that goes. But yeah, tonight we'll actually be picking back up with basic data structures using the splice and the object.keys functions and methods. So we'll see how that does. So just some overview, kind of some items that we'll be doing. So remove items from an array with pop and shift. We've done that before. Remember, pop removes at the end, shift removes at the beginning. So yeah. Oh, hold on. Okay, hopefully that stays up. Anyway, copying array items using splice, modifying object nested within an object. We've done stuff like that before. Checking and to see if an object has a property. So basically it's just adding on to the things that we've already done. So you should be able to know most of these. So yeah, see what we have here today. All right, good to see you back, Alice, Drap, and Commander. Ashley, thank you for coming back. We have probably a few more people that'll be on, and then we will maybe get started. Maybe we can just get started here next minute or so. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, we've definitely done some of these before during the basic JavaScripting. And there's only, this shouldn't last, I mean, like probably an hour and a half maybe. We have 20 steps in this one. When we did debugging, we only had 12. So, and this isn't nowhere near as bad as regex. I mean, it's just, you know, modifying objects, creating new objects and that sort of stuff. So, I think we'll be good on that. Alright, so I'm actually going to switch this over now. So here we are. First one we're going to do, use an array to store a collection of data. So I think we've already done this before, but you know, it's good to brush up and, you know, relearn some of the stuff. You know, it's been a while since we did the basic JavaScripting, so some people may have forgotten a little bit, which is okay. But yeah, learning more about storing data, accessing data, like learning about more of objects, you know, is great. We'll be doing a lot more here in this section though, in object-oriented programming, which if anyone knows OOP, it's going, like, this is one of the most essential parts to programming. Essential parts to any sort of programming that you're doing. Object-oriented programming is a big step. So, but that's two-way. We'll have to do basic algorithm scripting here on the next one. But yeah, today we're starting with this. So, use an array to store a collection of data. Alright, so if we do a length right here, right here on this, it says that there's 7 values. 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 values in here, but it starts at 0. Remember that. So there'll be 7. The length of this is 7. All arrays have a length property, right? Easy access with using the syntax array.length. So we should know that. We've done that, you know, a few times. So in here, you know, we have the complex array that has arrays within it as well. So you have right here and you have right here. So that's 2. So there's only like 0 and 1 that shows, but they also have, you know, objects inside these arrays. So it's got right here and it's got right here. So it's not a multi-dimensional array because there's no, well, it kind of is, yeah, because there's one right here. So this is one, like one giant one, but then you also have this right here being an array and this one being an array. So it is a multi-dimensional, but this is the first position, second position, first position, second. So we have defined a variable called your_array. Complete the statement by assigning an array of at least 5 elements in length to your array variable. Contain at least 1 string, 1 number, and 1 boolean. So we'll change this. So we need a string. Need a number. There's our number. And then we have a boolean, so we'll put true. And now we have 3, so that's there's like dog and cat. So this points out to 1, 2. This points out to 5. There's 5 values in here. Okay. So we define a simple array with 3 in there. We store our variable if we want a specific item inside our array. So remember, if we call, you know, the brackets with the position, and you can store that value inside of a variable. So our variable right here would be equivalent to A. In addition to access the value associated with an index, you can also set an index to value. So you can do array and then select a position, and then you could change it by adding this, right? So we know how to do that. In order to complete the challenge, set the second position. So 0, 1. This is the second position, which would be 1, right? We're going to change my array position 1, and we're going to make that equal to anything you want besides the letter B. So let's put anything I want. See? Now the second position, when we call my array, like we call it in the console, see? It goes A, and then we change the value B to anything I want. Pretty easy stuff. Nothing too complicated. But you guys know how to do that. You guys should know how to do that by now. But recapping, you know, you select your position that you want within the array, and you give it whatever you want. And I believe this is a let variable. So if you use the const, I believe you can still set the variable inside here to whatever you want it to be. But then, like, if you try to set my array to something else, it won't do it. So you can manipulate the data in it, but you wouldn't be able to, you know, reassign this to something else if this was a const. But it's a let, so it don't matter. Okay. So now, what are we doing here? So add items to array using push and unshift. So push ends it to the end. Remember, unshift adds it to the beginning. So we're gonna, in this function, we're gonna get the array, which is mixed numbers with all of these right here. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna add this to it. So define a function, modify the function by push and unshift to add I, 2, and 3 to the beginning of the array, and 7, 8, and 9 to the end, so that the returned array contains representation of numbers 1 through 9 in order. So remember how we add that? So we're taking ARR, which is the argument here, right? The array that we're passing into our function. This is the RR for array. Then we're gonna put this dot unshift first, because we want to add it to the beginning. So what do we want to add? We want to add so 1 in Roman numerals, 2, and 3. See, we did it. That, and then we also want to add to the end AR for, we're going to take this and we're going to add not pop, but push, because we're going to push it to the end, and we're going to do 7 v 3 i's and 9. So there you go. And then we return the array. So we took it in, we modify it to push these 3 to the beginning, we modify it to push these 3 to the end using push, and then we return the array itself. And now in the console.log, when we call mixed numbers and we enter this array, remember with the brackets, that means it's an array. You don't actually have to have like a you don't have to actually have the variable or the array clearly defined. You just have to have the values in there. So you have in here the brackets, see, and then our values. So now if you see the output again when we call this function mixed numbers right here, you'll now see that 1, 2, 3, and then at the end 7, 8, 9 have been added to this array right here. So there you go. So now remember, unshift adds it to the beginning of an array for values, push adds it to the end. So Just remember that. Remove items from an array with pop and shift. So remember, shift removes things from the beginning, removes the first value from the beginning. Pop removes it from the end. So we're gonna do, so what it's wanting us to do is, this is gonna be popped. So we're gonna grab the array dot pop, and now grab the last value in the array, right, and remove it. So it's returning, see, that popped is now stored as complete, see? So when we put this pop shift in here using this function, right, it's going to print us out this, because this is what we're asking for a return. So we're not returning the array right here, we're actually returning just these values. So why you can see this is complete, which is the one that we took off the end right here, and then shifted, which is what it's undefined because we haven't defined it yet. So if we just go ar.shift, see, then we take off the beginning. So shifted now stores the variable, or the shifted variable stores the value of challenge, because see, this was in the beginning, that's the first value, and popped stores the value of the last value of the array, which is complete. So now you got challenge, which is from the beginning, and complete stored in popped and shifted, which is what it's returning here. So, all right. And then if we wanted to, we can, just for example, we can just return the array, right? It's because we took it off, and the only values that are left, if you can see here, is and not, because we removed the beginning and the end, so this is all the values that we're left with. So we'll return that back to what it was, so that way you can see the beginning and end variable. We'll complete that. Cool, we got 20%. This is actually moving pretty nice. We haven't ran into too much complications yet. So now we are getting into splice. So for splice, we can use this to remove any number of consecutive elements from anywhere in the array. So we did the pop, we did the shift, we added by using unshift and the push. Now we're going to remove specifics values from the array. So splice can take up to 3 parameters, but for now we'll focus on the first two. The first 2 parameters of splice are integers that represent indexes and positions of items in the array that splice is being called upon. And remember, arrays are 0 index, so the indicated first element of an array should always use 0. Splice's first parameter represents the index of the array, so to which to begin removing elements, while the second parameter indicates the number of elements to delete. For example, so if you look right here, let's look at this example. We're calling the array, we're doing a splice, right? So we're starting at position 2. So remember, it starts at 0. So 0, 1, 2. So we're going to start at not, right? Then we're going to remove 2. So I believe we're going to remove not and so. So here remove 2 elements, beginning with the third element starting at 2 with not, right? At index 2, array would have the value today was great. Because, so we start at index 2, and since we listed 2 right here, right? Is that, yeah, that should be showing up on your end. So since we indexed the position 2, which is 0, 1, 2, we're starting at not, and then we're using this to tell how many values we're getting rid of. It goes from, that value to the right. So we're going to not, we're going to remove not and so, because this is, the first 2, 1 and 2. But we're starting at index 2, which is 0, 1, 2, which is here, right? So that is where we're starting. We're removing these 2. So once you remove these 2, the only values that are going to be remaining is today was great, right? So, and then you can store those into a new array. So if you put that new array, it would have the value not and so. So let's try this. So we've initialized an array. Use splice to remove elements from array so that it only contains elements that sum to the value of 10. So, all right. So let's see what we can do. So let's see what we can do. There's 2, 4, so 6. Let's remove 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, hold on. 4, 5, 6. That'd be 11 if I add those. So I need to think real quick. 2, 4. So this is 6 right here. And this would make 7. And this would make 9. But we need to total the sum value to 10. So, could we, yeah, this would make 12. Move elements from array. So, 10. Okay. So if I took these right here, so we have 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have to remove the 4, 5, 1, and 7. So we're starting at 0. Okay, so let's do this. So we're getting 4, 5, 1, 7. So let's do array dot splice. So we're gonna slice that. All right. And now we'll start at the second position. So 1. Remember 0, 1, right? And now, since we only listed one value, right? It literally gets rid of everything else. So we have to tell it, okay, we only want to go to this far, right? Because if you just put one value, like the position, it's just going to take all of these numbers and just get rid of it. So we have to splice it. So 1, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 right here. So remember, when you're slicing, you have to include the position of where it's starting at too. You can't just assume that this right here is going to be covered by this value, because it won't. This is just telling us where we're starting. So 0, 1. Okay, so we're starting at 1. All right, and grabbing all the way to 7, which is 4 numbers. So we're going to go 4, right? We're taking out those 4, and all that's left with is 2, 5, 2, 1, which equals 10 when you sum it up. So there you go. And that is how you remove specific items from an array. And you can do that obviously with not just numbers, but a lot more stuff as well. So there we go. Remember in the last challenge we spliced, we could take up to 3 parameters? Well, you can use the third parameter comprised of 1 or more elements to add to the array. This can be incredibly useful for quickly switching out an element or a set of elements. So, okay, you could take out a bunch of elements, and then in the last splice section, you could be like, okay, this is what I'm going to add. So as you can see right here, this is the starting index, this is the amount to delete, but then you have these other parameters right here to add. So we'll add 13 and 14. So let's show that. So we have defined HTML color names. So right here, these are all the HTML color names in the array, right? And now modify the function using splice. So, okay, ARR splice, right? And now So when it returns, like once it returns and returns the array, it's showing all these, right? So in order to do this, we're starting index. We'll want to remove the first two elements of the array and add dark salmon and blanched almond to there. So let's do it. So we're going to start obviously at the beginning, remove the first two, right? So now we've removed dark and gold and white smoke. So you can see right here, lavender blush, pale turquoise, and fire brick. These three values are all that's left. So the third, so this is where the third comes in. So now we want to add dark salmon. Okay. So there we go. See, we added it. Now it's here. And then we're going to add our second one, which is blanched almond. There you go. See, now we have our two right here. And we've gotten rid of dark goldenrod and white smoke. So it's that easy to use splice. Okay. So we use splice in that way to remove. Next method we're going to cover is called slice. Rather than modifying an array, slice copies or extracts a given number of elements to an array. So okay, splice removes it, while this slice is going to just copy those. It's not going to remove anything, but it's going to copy those values into something else. So you're basically creating a whole new array. So remember that splice removes, array, or a slice just copies it. So modify the function using slice to extract information from the argument array and return a new array that contains the string element warm and sunny. So let's do this. Array dot. All right, so slice. Remember, not splice. This is slice. We're going to start at the index 0, 1, 2. So we're going to start index 2, and we're going to copy 1, 2, these two numbers. So 2, 2. We want warm and sunny, which is what we're wanting, right? So now, instead of, see how warm and sunny is not gone? It's still there. But we're going to create a new array. So let new array equal this dot slice. So we're storing it there, and we're going to return the new array. Right? So tell me why that didn't add that on there. Teen string. Oh, okay. So this isn't position anymore, okay? This, I got that mixed up. The second parameter, right, we have here is actually the stopped index. So instead of grabbing the positions, this is actually the index of where it ends. So we're going to want 0, 1, 2, 3. So we start at, well, we want to stop at 4. There we go. Because we want to go 0, 1, 2. So we want to start here, but we want to end here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're stopping at 4, starting at 2, which is why we have warm and sunny. And it gets stored in this new array, and then we return it. So now we have warm and sunny added. So I forgot. So in slice, remember this is the starting, and then this is the ending ending index. As with splice, you just put the position, and then you get like the index, and then you add how many positions from that position over. So yeah, so make sure you're aware of that. But we have added warm and sunny into a new array, which is what we were wanting. So those are the differences between splice and slice. While slice allows us to be selective about what elements of the array to copy among several other useful tasks, ES6 new spread operator allows us to easily copy all of an array's elements in order with a simple and highly readable syntax. The spread syntax simply looks like this. So ... So okay, we have defined a function copy machine which takes the array and num as an argument. The function is supposed to return a new array made up of num copies of array. Okay, while num is greater than 1, done most of the work, but it does work quite yet. Modify the function using spread syntax so it works correctly. So we would use what? The new, new array dot slice, and then we add 3 dots and then array to copy everything into there for a copy machine, right? But ooh, okay, we would have to use the brackets, right? Is that what it's wanting us to do? Nope. Alright, so let's figure this one out. So, oh, wait a minute. No, because there's nothing in the new array. Wait. Hold on. Yeah, that's right, because the new array dot slice, right? Wait. So we use the spread. So instead of doing this to copy, we would just make the array here equal this array. There we go. So we're just changing this, and then we take away the number of times. So true, true, 2 should return true, false, true, and then add true, false, 2 and return new array. So so would we do a push to add it there, right? There we go. Okay. So that's what it's doing, is it's wanting to copy this, but it's wanting to spread it out into it's wanting to copy this array this many times. So what we'd have to do is we set a new array to nothing, right? We declare a new variable, and then we do the new array, but push this right here, this spread, which takes everything and copies it and pushes on to the next one. And then we do that, so it takes out this one, so num, and then it adds this array again, so which is why we have true, false, true right here, and then we have another exact copy right here. So there you go. So it's gonna keep copying as many times as we want. So, all right, we did that. All right. Another huge advantage of the spread operator is the ability to combine arrays or to insert all the elements of one array into another at any index. With more traditional syntaxes, we can concatenate arrays, but this only allows us to combine arrays at the end of one and at the start of another. Spread syntax takes the following operation extremely simple. So if you want to put the next array So as you can see right here, you have this array right here of things, and then you have that array which has different things. But as you can see right here, this spread array basically copies this whole entire thing and puts it in there. Achieve an operation that would have been more complex. Using spread syntax, we've just achieved an operation that would have been more complex and more verbose had we used traditional methods. We have defined a function spread out, right, that returns the variable sentence. All right. Modify the function using the spread operator so that it returns the array learning to code is fun. So let's do this. So let's make this learning, and then our next will be the spread operator for fragment, right? So it makes learning to code, and then is fun. There you go. See? Using the spread operator, we were actually able to take the two code and insert it into this new array and then return the sentence. So there we go. Pretty easy if we're wanting to insert manually. Okay. Let's go into the next challenge. Since an array can be changed or mutated anytime, there's no guarantee what a particular piece of data will be given. Provides us with another built-in method, index of, that allows us to quickly and easily check for the presence of an element on an array. Takes an element of a parameter and when called, it returns the position or index of the element, or -1 if the element does not exist on the array. Okay, so index of grabs the position if it finds a match. So you just, you declare the array like what's showing here. You take the array, you put .index of, and then you put a value in here. And it says, it looks through that and says, okay, does this exist? And it's like, okay, yes, it does. So since it does, it gives you the position that this takes. So index of can be incredibly useful for quickly checking for the presence of an element on an array. So, alright, so, quick check takes an array and element as an argument to modify the function, use an index of so that it returns true if the past element exists on the array and false if it does not. So, if array dot index of element, right? Oh wait, okay, we would have to use parentheses. We don't use that, right? If it's index of, return true, else oh, okay, we only need this because if it doesn't equal that, it's going to return false anyway, right? So we can just put a return false if it doesn't stop. So see, if the array element, if it exists, it returns a true. If it doesn't, returns false. Pretty simple, all with using index of. And if you want, instead of true, you can actually go console.log, and you can do array.index of element. So that comes with an, oh yeah, because mushrooms is not available in here, right? So why did this point out to true? If array dot index of for element, it should have returned false. So do you have to explicitly say if it's true? Okay. Alright, so there we go. We have to explicitly say that it's true. So if this is false... Okay. So, in this situation, if a radix of element is not equal to -1, then it would return false. If else, this would be here. So, let's do squash. See, 0. So that's how you would write this, because it is right, and it gives us a 0 because squash is in the 0 position. So there we go. So to make this actually right, because it would say true, you know, no matter what, because it's saying, okay, there is something calling back. Like, it's saying that, okay, this is calling back, but it's not explicitly saying that it's true or false. So you have to give it, like, okay, if this doesn't equal 1, then, like, if this right here is not going to equal -1 when it returns, this is what the element's going to be. But if it's not, it's going to return false. So we wanted to check for that. So we're going to return this back to true. So that way we get a, you know, a true or false variable or value. And there we go. So 50% complete. Doing pretty good. Hanging in there. So, alright. Now we're going to the next. Alright, so we have a new array. Looks like right here we have our already declared array and an element. And we have several this is a multi-dimensional array, but it also has 3. So it's getting the array, the element. So what are we doing? So through all an arrays item, iterate through all an array's items using for loops. Okay. So sometimes when working arrays, it's very handy to be able to iterate through each item to find one or more elements that we might need. Okay. We have offer several built-in methods that each iterate over arrays in slightly different ways to achieve different results, such as every, for each, or map. However, the technique which is most flexible and offers us great amount of control is a simple for loop. Okay, so we've done these for loops, right? So we have to find the nested array. We have defined a filtered array which takes an array, a nested array, and element as arguments. And this, okay. And returns a new array. Element represents an element that may or not be present on one or more of the arrays nested within the array. Modify the function using the for loop to return a filtered version of the past array such that array nested with an array containing element has been removed. Okay. So are we adding the removed array to this? So right. Returns a new array. Element presents an element that may or may not be present in one or more of the arrays. Okay. Modify the function using a for loop to return a filtered version pass array such that any array nested within containing element has been removed. So are we just copying this array and adding everything? So let me get this straight. So now this new array has everything copied from here, right? And it's wanting to return everything with it removed, with the specific values removed. So we'll have to use splice to get that position removed. And in order to do that, we would have to get... Okay, so let's think this out. So let's get a for loop going. Let's do a let I equals 0 to start it off. If, so we'll go I is less than array.length. We'll do I plus plus. So this is how most things are mostly set up. So we're gonna filter through the array, and then we have to make another nested loop, because we're going through these. So it's going through this, it's going, here, right? It's just giving us this, right? And we need to go inside of it. So this is where we would make another nested loop. So for let j equal 0, j minus dot arr, then I dot length plus plus. So what's doing here is, so now we're going inside each one of these values right here, right? And we're getting the length of each one of these. So it's just iterating through. So now we want to be able to find an if. So if array I, right, dot index of, and then we want to find the index of the element, right? If index of element is not equal to -1. Okay. So and j, right? And is not a function. Okay, hold on. So so we're going through here. It's got I, and then we're going through j, which is in here. And this should put an index of, what was that syntax? So hold on. Wait a minute. So it wants us to get rid of such that an array nested with our contained element has been removed. Okay, so we want to remove that whole element if it contains it. A so so what would console.log just kind of so here we go. It's 3 2 3 here 9. So do we need this for loop in here? So if we're just looking for that inside, so if, wait, hold on. I want to copy this right here. Okay. And take out this for loop. What's going here? This in there. So if array dot index of element array dot push or dot slice, nope, splice oh wait, so if it finds the index so let's do this. Instead of here, we do a new array, and then we take new array dot length, right? Index of element. So new array dot splice, and then we get the I, and then 1. Okay, so okay. Okay. Gotta do this. New array dot index of so let's see if we can bring back that here. So we have this here. This is I. And then if we use J, it gives us each one of these. So element I what do you mean that's not a function? Okay. Wait, hold on. We also gotta do new array. There we go. New array I. Okay. Dot splice. Well, we would have to store. Now let index item equal new array dot index of text item element new array. It's not a function. New array. Oh, here we go. Element. Okay. Okay. So here we go. So it finds everything, the indexed item. Splice. Index item. X item. 1. So it took out the 3 of each one of these. But we don't want to take out the item inside. We want to take out. So let's do this. So we'll take out this second J. So this got us to where we need to be. So we don't want to go inside. We want to take out the one that's in. So we'll let array, new array. So we'll take out these. So if it contains I. So there we go. So we're going in here. We're looking for the index item. That's why we're going inside here and doing I, because we want to go inside and figure out which one inside of here. So console.log index item. So it's showing that it's in position 0, 0, right? So, but if it's 3, 3, 3. Okay. So anything with a 2 should have the array move. So if anything that has a 3 in here, this should return nothing. So why is 3, 13, 26 here and 9 right here, but these ones are removed? Yeah, I knew that wasn't. So, ha! So we're getting inside there and we're seeing something kind of interesting happen. It's going through these, but how many is it really going to? It's only going to this, and then it's stopping, right? So sol.log index item. So see, it's only finding the first 2. It's not going through the whole entire thing. So index item. So that's the exact same thing as putting that in here. If it's not equal to -1, then it goes in here. But that's the thing, it's not removing each one of these. This should pretty much return an empty string. So hold on. Index item. So it's not removing any of these, right? So you go in here, but if you do this, see, so let's see if we can go back and put that J in there. Right? So this goes inside here and it gets everything inside. So index of element, if so we're taking, it's wanting to splice that with the next item with 1. Okay. So if it finds that, it wants us to splice. But we want to find the J element, right? Then we will do new array I. Oh, new R. Index of. Oh. Yeah, it's not function. Why is it having a... Okay. So if there is an index of inside there, but what about J? Index of is the new array element So if it does that, and it's splicing. So why is it doing this? So index item. So it's going through each one of those now for 0. So it's finding the 0, right? And then it's finding it, so it's getting rid of this. 0, 1, 2, finding this. And then it finds this first one here. But why doesn't it go to that last one? So yeah, we're getting there. It's gradually getting there. I just need to find out how to access that last one. So we're going in here. J, right? If this is J, right? Alright, so we got that. So why can't I use J as going in here? So if it does this, alright. What does this do? So it splices that from there. So it finds 0, 0, 0. Alright, so when it do that, so we're splicing here. So that's just going deeper and getting rid of that. So we want to get rid of not the internals, but everything outside of it. But why is that not wanting to go further? That's what I'm having issues with. So we're not changing the actual array, but we're copying it so that way we output something new. But why isn't it wanting to grab? So 0, 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2, but that's 26, and that's 0. So that's not what I'm looking for. So would this be J? So so we're not going to use this. We just want to get the okay, so we can just splice the rest of it. So if array J dot index of element. All right. So we need to find what is console.log new array j, right? So it's going through here. What? Okay, so it's iterating like 3 times through each of it, so we don't even need to do that. So we need to... I know I'm going back and forth, but I'm trying to find the thing that will work with this. Okay. And we wouldn't use j. We would use I. Alright. So let's use console.log new array I for each element right here. Yep. And then we can find the index of this element. So index of element. So we got a splice. The new array index of okay. Right. Do the one first and do only one position. Right. But we might. No, because if that was the case, we'd have to get rid of it. So splice. Inside. Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that. We want to get rid of the... So we got rid of 0. So... if... No. I need log so put this in there. So it finds it 0 in here, 0 in here, but it's not getting rid of it. So we could do this. So instead of here, we could do a while loop. While new array item dot index of is true. New array dot splice is not equal to 1 or -1. There's not an infinite loop. splice new array. Item. So I'm trying to just so 323 potential infinite loop detect on line. So right here. So constant new loop. So it's 0. So what if we put a new thing in here that for a test right here? So it should get rid of 18 in all of these. Oh. Okay. It still returns an empty loop, huh? All right. Gosh darn it. Okay. So it wants us to utilize a for loop. Hey, what's going on, Toby? Thank you for joining the stream. Just trying to figure some loops stuff out. Necessary element as arguments. Okay. So we could do this. So instead of the new array being this is blank. So if it doesn't contain that, then we will push it in here. So if now we're not going to do this. We're going to do array dot length if array dot I dot index of element is not equal to -1. All right. If array is not equal to 1, array dot I dot push index it's not equal to so let's do this else. So this is just break it, right? Or continue. And then this will do a array I if is not equal to -1. Hold on. No. New array dot push. It'd be array I. So we're gonna push all those to there, right? That's what we're just gonna do. So if element is equal to -1. So it's doing that. Oh my god. Oh. This is hard. I'm not gonna lie. It should be fairly easy. This should be extremely easy. So, how is it doing that? The index of element is equal to yeah, I see that. So looking at the example, so if the array 1, if there's an index, hold on, let's see this real quick. What is console.log? So I'm gonna just do the array dot I, right? We're going through each value, right? Array I, okay, has an index of, you have 1, it should push that, right? So this might be right, because if it's going through this and it's finding the index of and it's saying, well, this is -1, if it goes through each one of these and it doesn't have that, then it is 0, which is what we've been looking for. So let's try this with something else, one of these other examples here, okay? Let's try this example and see if we get that. Right. 18. Filtered array. What do we have here? So, this, right? No. Block. So there we go. 10, 8, 3, 14, 6, 23. So anything that has 18, it removes. So there we go. We did it. So we'll switch those back to what it was beforehand. So that's what it is. Okay. So it looks through here, right? The array.length gets the whole array. And then it says, okay, if this, you know, the array of I, which would be 0, 1, 2, however long this is, right? That length. If it finds it, right, and it's equal, it comes back with, remember, -1 is, you know, a false value. That means it's not there. Then we're going to push whatever value this is to here, to the new array. And if it doesn't, it's not going to push it. Well, since every single one that we had, you know, had a 3 in it, that means it wasn't pushing anything, which is why our output was nothing. So this is right here. That's what we did. We figured it out. Boom. Nice. And probably took a little longer than I thought, but you know what? Oh well. It finished. So at 55, that was a hell of a challenge just in itself doing that. Okay, so awesome. You just learned a ton about arrays. Great. The way I'm looking at this, create complex multi-dimensional arrays. I would absolutely love to. Okay. The deep array is nested 2 levels deep, right? So array, nested array, deeper still. So if you're looking at all this, we already know how to go deeper, you know. If you're wanting, you know, 0, like if you, okay, let's say if you're wanting to get to, let's say here, right? You would just put a, console.log, like if you're wanting this right here. So we want to change this to true, right? So if we go, in order to do this, we would do my nested array. And then we get, you know, 0, 1, 2. So we're getting this array, which is at position 2. And then we're going to get the false right here. So 0, 1. And since there isn't 20, so see, we got the value of false. So that's how you can grab that. So what is it wanting us to do? We have defined a variable my nested array, right? Select set equal to an array, modify my nested array using any combination of strings, numbers, booleans, or data elements so that it has exactly 5 levels of depth. Remember, the outermost array is level 1. Somewhere on the 3rd level, including the string deep, on the 4th level, including the string deeper. Okay. Alright, so we need to go, it wants 5 levels of depth. So this is the first right here. Well, this is the first, right? This is the second. So now we need to go even further. So let's put in here, you know, let's put in a nested right here, right? So we'll put in, well, first we need to make sure it's nested, see? So that we are on here. This is 3rd, 1, 2, 3rd, deep, right? Right, and then we'll add another one right here, okay? So this would be 4th deep. I'm just trying to keep these, you know, on the same level. So this would be 4th. 4th. No. Yes. 4th deep. Right. Okay. And then, hold on. We put this right here because that's on the same level. This is 4th deep, right? And then we would make another one. Like, this is 5th deep, right? And there you go. This is 5th deep. So, somewhere on the 3rd level, include the string deep. Okay, so hold on. Here we go. 3rd level, deep, deeper, deepest. Okay, so deeper, and deepest. So look, see, you have a comma. This is the second value. If you want to actually keep it this way, we can. You can do it this way to make sure. I mean, you can go deeper. Deeper. Right. I rather keep it this way. Deeper, deepest. There you go. And that is how we drill down to add more arrays. So you can just keep going still, and you know, you can use these syntax to just keep drilling down. Alright, so at the most basic objects, so now we're going to do key value pairs to JavaScript objects. So we did a lot of work in the arrays. So now we will be working through here. We're going to be working with JavaScript objects. So we don't have too much left, too far to go. We're almost, seems we're almost done. But yeah, so now we have an object of foods, apples 25, oranges 32, plums 28. So you have 3 properties. What is it wanting us to do? A foods object has been created with 3 entries, right? Using syntax of your choice, add 3 more entries to it. Bananas with a value of 13, grapes with a value of 35, strawberries with a value of 27. So we could do this. There's many different ways that you could do this. You can use dot notation or explicit. You know, we can even do both. Let's just do that. It wants us to add bananas. So let's go foods, and it wants us to add bananas. Right? And we want to add bananas to 13, right? So now, as you can see, we've successfully added bananas to this, right? Now we got to add foods. Now we'll do the dot notation of grapes. We'll add a new property to here of 35. So see, we've done this before, like a while ago, and as a refresher, this is how you add it. You can use this, remember, you can use this. What else is there? We've already used this. We can use it as like, oh, here we go. Remember when we need to have, you know, variables, so const, let's add, maybe I should do this just to satisfy it. So const new we can do new entry, and then this is going to be strawberries, right? So now we put this in here, foods. Now we can't use dot notation with this. We have to explicitly use, you know, this, what is it? It's an explicit variable, but what? Well, I believe it's explicit. I'm just gonna say, yeah, it's an explicit, like you're explicitly defining it. So in here, how we did this, which create our new property right here, like you can see, I'll show you here in a second, but yeah, we put new entry in here. So this automatically assumes the entry of strawberries, and then we have to give it a value of 27. So see, look. Now if you look down here, we have bananas 13. So remember, we defined our object that we are adding a property to. We have our bananas is the property we're adding, and then the quantity. And then we did dot notation, where we did foods. We defined on what property we were going to make, and then the value of that. And then we had a variable that we got right here, right? And then the name of that variable for strawberries. And so now we saw the strawberries down here, and we assigned it a value of 27. So these 3 different ways that you can assign are all correct. So something to remember. There's many ways that you can do it. So let's go ahead to the next. All right, so now let's take a look at slightly more complex objects. So you got objects within objects. So you can do depth. So a nested object has 3 properties. You have, you have ID, date, data, and then inside that you have total users online status, and then inside that you have active, away, and busy. So you can grab the data off of that, and you can drill down to get what we need to. So we've defined an object user activity, which includes another object nested within it. Set the value of the online key to 45. So how do we get to this online key? Now, if you remember, we have so we're going to access the user activity, right? And then, so now we're going to drill down. So we're going to go to data, right? Because that's what we're needing to access right here, right? And then we're going to drill down again to online. So there we go. See, we've went from, user activity at a high level, went to the next level to data inside, and then we went inside data and we grabbed the online property. And then we're going to set that property to 45. So there you go. So now, as you can see down here, online has switched to 45. Now, if you want to do this a different way, use an explicit notation, you can use user activity. You can do data right here. And then you can do line. So referencing error, data is not defined. So that's because there is no variable for data. You have to actually define it with quotes. So there you go. So now you can do it this way, or you can do it this way as well. So either way that you do this is correct. So whichever you choose how to do it, that's how you can pick. But usually if you have it already all defined and you know what you're going into, then dot notation for me seems to be the most the better choice. But some people like to have this, so that way it just is more appealing that you can see, like, the actual drilling down without something about like being able to see the strings, or some people feel more comfortable this way, some people feel comfortable this way. It's just whichever you like to do, you can. But if you ever want to switch that to a variable at some point, it is better to just keep it at that explicit notation. So all right, so we got the next one. So access property names with bracket notation. So okay, function check inventory receives a scanned item as an argument, right? So scanned item, it wants us to add it. See the scanned item as an argument, return the current value of the scan in the foods object. So you can assume that only valid keys will be provided as an argument to check inventory. So if it wants to check inventory, so get current food, inventory, foods, selected food. Okay. Foods object. This might look like, okay. This, so what it's doing is using this get current food function, and it's using the scanned item, and then it's setting the foods to this. Or it's setting the inventory using foods as the array, and then using this. To get what's inside here. Okay. Turn the value of the key in the foods, or undefined if it's not present. Bracket notation is very useful because sometimes object properties are not known before runtime, or we need to access them in a more dynamic way. So we defined a function, check inventory, right? Which receives a scan item as an argument. Return the current value of the scan item. Okay, so we would use foods, scanned item, return. So that seems to be what it is. So you can just use foods, and then whatever the scanned item is, you can just, you know, put it in here and then return. Which we put in apples, it takes that, puts in foods, and it finds if apples is in here, and it returns 25. If it is not located in there, it shows a, it just shows an undefined. So you could actually do an if or else statement and like create your own, you know, return. If it doesn't, that's on you. But yeah, I mean, pretty much this is all you gotta do is just foods, and then you put that variable like we did in the previous a lesson ago or two. We put the variable or the argument right here in this instance inside here, and then it returned whatever that value was that it had. So there you go. Now that you know the objects and their basic features and advantages, in short, they're key value stores which provide a flexible, intuitive way to structure data, and they provide very fast lookup time. So let's revisit our foods. We want to remove the apples key. We can remove it by, okay. So remember, this is how you access key, like the key inside here, foods.apples. Well, you can actually delete it that way as well. So if you want to delete an entry. So how we did that, use the delete keyword to remove oranges, plums, and strawberry keys from the foods object. So delete foods dot oranges, right? Delete foods dot plums, and delete foods dot strawberries. So there you go. So now we're left with apples, bananas, and grapes. So delete, and then you got the object, and then the property of that object. So it's like basically having like a whole basket, right? And then just basically saying, okay, what's in this basket and how many of them are there? Okay, we're gonna take them all out. We're gonna, you know, switch up the value. Pretty much you're just manipulating a bunch of objects and properties. So check if an object has a property. We've done this, has own property. Finish writing the function so that returns true if the object passed through contains all four names. Is everyone here? We will do a I don't know where that came from. Okay. So, oh, cool. We got a few people joining our Discord. So that's good to see that more people are coming through. Nice. Anyway, sorry, distracted. Was just hearing that coming through. So I was wondering what that was all about. So it returns true. Object password contains all 4 names. Okay, so, and returns false otherwise. So, if now user object dot has own property. So has own property, we're gonna see if it has Alan. Can you actually, so return true, right? And then everything else we want to return false. So far we have true. Now, can we actually put something else in there? Alan, Jeff, or what would it be? Jeff. Now, what if I put Jake? Okay, so that would still return true. We don't want that. So we're gonna do Alan, and then we have to do, remember, an and, because we need more. User has own property Alan. Now you could do this. I bet you could, loop through it and see and do a compare with, like, putting all of these into like an array and then like comparing, and I mean you could do all that, but it might just be better just to like write it out like this because it's more direct. So Jeff, so it's false because I input it's case sensitive, so I put the J there. So these all have to be correct in order for it to work. User object dot has own property. We also want Sarah. Okay, and last but not least, user object dot has own property. And you could use an array to do comparisons to make sure, but Brian, for this example, we're just doing that. So seeing all that it has all these objects, like it has every single one of these properties, it's going to return true. So almost there. Sometimes you may need to iterate through all the keys within an object. This requires a specific syntax in JavaScript called a for in statement, right? For our user objects, this could this could look like, so this is a new one. This is a for in loop, like a for loop. Like, so you have a for, you have a let user, which, this is the variable that has nothing, right? But if inside the users, which users would be an array, it will log every user. Like, once we take the user, right, and we log it, it's going to put every value that's in users, right? This would log Alan, Jeff, and Sarah, each value on its own line. So this is pretty much an easy way to iterate through everything you have. Functions, we define a function called count online, right here. Which accepts one argument, a user object, right? Use a for in statement within this function to loop through the user objects passed to the function and return the number of users whose online property is set to true. For example, of the user's object would be passed to count a line shown below. Each user will have an online property with either true or false value. So let's do a let is online, right? And we'll set this counter to 0. So, and then we're going to return, return is online, the number, right? So we have 0 currently. Let's do a for, and then we'll say let user online in users object. So, okay. So this is what we're going to do right here, right? So if users online, because we're getting the users online status of every user that uses online, right? Online is set to true, right? So this should say, oh, oops, user online, my bad. So it should not, oh, and remember, we're gonna get we know what property we're getting, so we're gonna use dot online. We could use the, you know, the notation of like the brackets, bracket notation, or explicit notation, or, you know, we'll just stick to bracket notation. But yeah, we're gonna get here, if this is online set to true, we're gonna do the is online, you know, we're gonna add one, right? So it's supposed to count the users. So user online, it should go through each one and add, and then after, when this is over, it's going to return the is online back out. So let's see how this works. So I'm not seeing anything right now. Let's do on is set to true, right? So user online. So we should probably, since we're not seeing anything, I'm gonna use this. Is true, is online should go up by 1. Should return 1. Is online. So why is that not? So we have users. So that should get inside here. So wait a minute. We have the users online. Each user online, right? So console.log user online, right? It should do Alan Jeff Sarah, right? Okay. So user online has the online property is true, right? Then is online, this variable right here should, hold on. Okay, count online users. So it's looking through in here, this object. So it did show us that every single person is here. And it's so we're getting the user online. We're getting the online status, right? So yeah. So sweet, true. So why is that not adding a 1 to the is online variable? is... Is that because this is... I wanted to see what the object looks like. Yeah, we did. So we did the console long. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, I guess that would make sense to see what it looks like. So it's showing undefined. So how does... Still showing undefined. Okay. How is that undefined? That is clearly in there. Yeah, so you're seeing how this is odd, right? It's not getting... So each time we call it, it's throwing that it's undefined, but yet inside that object, there is a value called online. That's odd. User online in user object. So we did that. We got each user, which this holds every user, and then we're accessing it using dot notation. I've even used it on here, and it's not defining. I'm not really sure exactly what I'm doing wrong. So let's take this. Let's do a console log and look at users object. So there you have it. So hold on. Let's see what... Oh, hold on. I think I might be able to solve this. So let's do the user's object. Right? I think this might be better. And then we get the user online, right? And then we look for online. So let's get rid of this. All right. So I think we did it. There we go. So we just called the user's object right here. But in order to represent every single one that's in the user's object, we just used user online to iterate through each one of them. Use the online notation. So how I found that out was, you know, I remembered this is one level, this is a second level. So you need to define these, but then you also need to use a bracket notation to get these. So in order to do that, you would have to make two brackets, or you would have to make two dot notations. Well, if you are using a variable, you have to use the user online. You have to use this bracket notation, and then you could call the property. So dot online here. So this is 1 in this instance because we set this variable to 0, and then it's incrementing each time. So if we had 2 here that are true, like if we went like this should give us a value of 2. Yeah, there you go. So we figured that out. So always got to remember you have to have your object, then your first level that you're going into, and then you explicitly get the second level to figure out. You can't just call this and just do a dot online or whatnot, because it's missing this key. It's missing this because if it doesn't have an object to go into, it doesn't know how to call this, which means it's undefined. So you always have to have your object, you have to have your first level, and then if you want to get to the second level, then you can do that. But you can't just skip this level right here and just type in this, or else it'll come undefined. So there you go. That's why it kept throwing undefined to us. I did it. And thank you, Broke or Boke. Boke Joe, for recommending that. I think I was already kind of on that track of kind of trying the look, but I think I got to it a little bit sooner, so I'm okay with that. See if that goes. All right, so we're at 90%. So awesome. We're near the 2-hour mark, kind of where we're wanting to be. We're almost done. So finish writing get array of users function, so it returns the array containing all the properties in the object it receives as an argument. So return object. Is that what it was? Finish writing the array. Okay, hold on. Finish writing the get array of users function that returns an array containing all the properties in the object it receives as an argument. So, okay. So we're going to define a let new array, right? So this is what we got to do first. So for, so let's do this. Prop in, well, first we have to define this as a let prop in object. So we'll do this. So new array dot push, and now we want to push every single. We do that, right? So we're gonna return new array at the end. So we're gonna push every property into here. The user object should only contain the keys Alan, Jeff, Sarah, and Ryan. Okay. So, okay. Return the get array uses function to return an array which contains all the keys in the user's object. Okay, so in the object, so if it gets this or if it gets this, it should get all the properties. So we'd be just pushing the so object, right? And then we do prop that it's wanting to add, right? So get array of users function to return an array which contains all the keys in the user's object. So the object should only contain the keys Alan, Jeff, Sarah, and Ryan. Got that. All the keys in the user object. But we have age and false. So so how would we do this? Oh, we can also generate an array which contains all the keys stored in the object with the object.keys method. This method takes an object as it returns an array of strings representing each property in the object. Oh! So, we don't even have to do this. We just do return object.keys, right? And then we just put the object in there, right? Alan, Jeff, Sarah, Ryan. Well, that's pretty nifty. So it just makes the arrays for us. So you could just define like an array, assign it to object.keys and all this, and then you just got all the keys from that. That's awesome. That's cool. That's pretty simple. So definitely remember that. So super simple to get, you know, all these and throw them into an array. And if you wanted to do this, you could also do, so if we were doing a for let prop in object, right? So you could do this, and then keys object, you could do prop to get, you know, all the properties of each one of these. So you're just getting all the keys for these objects. But yeah, I mean, you could do whatever you want with this, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of check that and see what that would produce. So yeah, there you go. But you know, there you go. Object.keys, the object will put all of these objects, you know, these nested properties or whatnot, inside here. So, hold on. Okay, so let's back up a second. Let's try something. So what if we did prop here instead of 0, 1, 2, 3? Okay, so it's just getting the positions. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. It's not. That's just the positions that it's getting for each one of them. Okay, and basically, if you do the 0, 1, 2, 3 on the objects, it gets Alan, Jeff, Sarah, Ryan, but it's getting the properties of each one of those inside, like the values. So how could we add? Well, we did that. We could add all these to an array, but these are just getting specifically the keys. You know? So we could do what we did before and just put the, you know, add a new array, you know, push it onto there, and you can make, you know, an array of each one of those. So, but that explicitly gets, you know, keys. Alright, so modify an array stored in an object. Okay, so you have this, and then you have an array right here. So, seen all the basic operations for JavaScript. You can add, modify, and remove key value pairs. Check if key exists in an array over objects in an object. As you continue learning JavaScript, you will see even more versatile application of objects. Additionally, the data structure lesson located in the coding interview prep section of the curriculum also covers the ES6 map and set objects, both of which are similar to ordinary objects but provide some additional features. Now that you've learned the basics of arrays and objects, you're fully prepared to begin tackling more complex problems using JavaScript. At least that's what it thinks that we can do. Take a look at the object we provide in the coder. Okay, user. The data key contains 5 keys. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, the data key contains 5 keys. Okay. One of which contains an array of friends, right? From this, you can see how flexible objects are as data structures. We start writing a function called addFriend, right? Argument to the array stored in user.data.friends and returns that array. Okay. So we are just going to add, so we're getting the user object. So we're getting user, right, as the object, and we're going to add Pete to the friends array. So yeah, so let's see what we can do with this. So we're going to take the user, well, we're not iterating through all of it, we're just getting specific. So I'm going to use the user object, now drill down to data friends, right? And so return. So far this is what we have. Now we want to add dot push. Can we do that? So we add dot push friend. So now can we do this, right? We could do a dot push to friend, add the friend here, and then we return the user object. So, and Pete is now added to the friends group. So yeah, you just drill down and then you add the dot push and then it adds the friend right here. And then it returns the object. So, oh, it just wants to return that. So we can also store this. I guess we can just do this. We'll copy that. There we go. Drill down to friends. Alright. And there you have it. We have now drilled through arrays. We've drilled through objects. And now we will start doing basic algorithmic equations or problems the next time we come in here. But yeah, we've learned a lot of different things on what we can do. Bracket notations, dot notations, going through the arrays, portions, using splice, using slice. Remember, slice is to clone, splice is to actually remove or, you know, take it out of an array. The big differences between slice and splice: slice clones it. Just remember that. You know, you start at a position, and then for the slice, the first argument parameter it takes as the index of where it's located, and then you take the last index and of how much you want to clone. And the splice is you get the start index, but then you select how many positions you want in the second argument. And then you, in the third argument, you can do a replacement, and you can put objects in there that you want. So anyone who came into this late, you know, wants to explore this a little bit more, this is going to be up on, like always, on the YouTube channel. There also, like I said, you can check out the Discord if you got, you know, kind of any questions, and for you guys to kind of talk amongst each other. You know, feel free to do that. That will be located in each of my videos. There's usually a link down there, including this one. There's going to be a link down there to join. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this portion. Objects and arrays are a huge part of JavaScript, and you know, you're going to be using them a lot. So just be aware of that. You know, they're used in a bunch of forms, they're used in a bunch of, like, you know, event handling, all that kind of stuff. So just so you're aware of all that. But yeah, you know, I've enjoyed doing this portion with you guys. You know, being able to like talk and do this, you know, has kind of just made me feel a bit better, because I really enjoy, you know, taking the time out of the day, even when I'm not feeling great, or you know, if I'm not exactly feeling up to it. Once I start actually, you know, talking to you guys and, you know, getting into the rhythm, you know, I start feeling a bit better, and start, you know, more enjoying. But usually, you know, when we hit that like 5-hour mark, I'm just like, okay. Like, you know, I wouldn't mind being done not too long. But that's why you're supposed to take breaks and, you know, do some walks and then come back when you're done. But during a stream, if I kept doing that, the stream would last hours upon hours more than it already does. So I try to just do everything in one sitting so you guys have a complete video. And you guys get to see all the mistakes I made, and sometimes I can understand some of you might get annoyed watching the whole entire thing and then just finding out in some places that, you know, I was wrong. But eventually, if you skip around like the videos, you'll eventually find the answer you need, because we always do, no matter what. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time coming through. Let's go back in here. We did basic data structures, completed that all the way through. Oh, oops. I did not run the test and submit. Gotta make sure you submit. But yeah, we are now on JavaScript algorithms and data structures. So this, oh, guys, this is going to be probably one of the harder parts, because these algorithms, you know, they're obviously not going to hold your hand or do anything like that. You know, you gotta start writing all your algorithms from scratch, and you know, they give you a let and a return. But yeah, you like, it gets harder over time, and then we'll go into intermediate, and then that gets harder. So like, just be prepared. Like, from the next thing that we do and come into, it's when the real challenges start coming through, at least this portion. But you know, I think we could be able to do it. And not gonna lie, I've had a few difficulties in the past when it came to this kind of stuff. So, you know, I encourage a lot of you guys to make sure to come to the next one, provide your input if possible, to, if you see things going wrong or going south, like to, you know, lend a like helping hand. So this doesn't take forever in a day to do. But yeah, if it gets too long, usually I'll get the get help button and I'll, you know, kind of look at it. But I try to hold off, and I'd rather do this like as a community and, you know, come up with the solution together than, you know, just, you know, using like you know, I give up kind of thing and throw in the towel to see what the answer is. And usually, like, you know, if I'm not streaming and like I'm doing that, I'll rigorously search for answers and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I don't want to make this, you know, 8 hours long and, you know, all of us be so drained from just sitting here. So yeah, we'll pick up on here of converting the Fahrenheit to Celsius, or vice versa, converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. And it tells us to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit is the temperature in Celsius times 9 by 5 plus divided by 5 plus 32. So, I mean, these are just, you know, small equations, but it does eventually get harder. So just letting you know that ahead of time, so you guys are aware. But yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you all back again. You know, the next couple of days. depending, like making sure I'm feeling good and up to it. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. So you guys have a good night. Thank you guys for coming through, and I'll see you again in the next lesson. Have a good night.